Hello everybody, welcome to another journal with me video. In this video I'm going to be working in my onion skin journal, my sort of scrapbooky journal, my ink journal and my junk journal. It's super windy outside today, so if you can hear the wind like whistling in the background, then well, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. But yes, so starting in my onion skin journal, what I like doing in this journal is it's just I love working in it. Like, the paper is just such a lovely tactile experience. So I generally like to make a pretty layout with various things from my stash and leave a space for journaling, and then I journal just whatever's on my mind at that very moment in time. So that's what I'm doing here. I make a pretty layout and there we go. And the journaling is very rarely connected to what the decoration is. So a lot of the bits I'm using here, I had some pretty scraps that I put aside, like that floral vellum and the blue paper and stuff. Just I kept them aside because I thought they would make a cute layout. And then a lot of the little bits I'm using are kind of, I tend to, when I buy new stock for my junk journal kits and my creative journal kits, I keep a couple of little bits for myself, just so, you know, I'm using the same products and things. So that's where most of them are from. I found this scrap of shiny gold kind of ribbon trim lying around on my desk. I think it was from a previous Lollipop Box Club box, I think, but I added a very thin line of red line tape to the edge, and I've just put the ribbon on there, give it a little bit of sparkly something, a little bit of texture. That little piece, the quote sticker that I'm distressing the edges of, I'm going to stick down there. That is, some of you will know I used to be really into creative planning like 5 years ago. That's mostly what this channel was about. And where I have like really nice stickers that I'd used on a planner spread, and I've gone to throw away the inserts because I don't need them anymore. Any really pretty sticker I'm just going to cut out and then put it aside to use in one of my journals. So that's where that's from. I'm adding a little Tim Holtz paper doll on top of that, so she's sort of sitting on it. And then here I'm going to add a load of sort of rub-on transfer stickers because I love them so much. One of my favourite products. But I'm really annoyed at the moment because I bought 3 new packs, and can I remember where I put them? No, I can't find them anywhere. It's just really aggravating me at the moment. You know, those are really little things that you just can't stop thinking about. It's like, what happened? What did I do with that thing? Anyway, it's not a big deal, but there we go. Added my journaling and adding the date there with some stains on ink, and that's pretty much it for that page. So next up, I think I'm going to move on to my ink journal. Yes, my ink journal. So this is a homemade journal made with Tomoe River paper, and I had bought 6 new inks. I think Cult Pens had a deal. It was like 4 for 3, something like that. Buy 3 get 1, whatever. And Vinter Inks, which is one of my favorite ink brands or companies, had brought out this special edition Cult Pens UK set, and I had to have it. I really had to have it. But first up, the Atramentis Fog Grey, just a colour I've been after. I think that's the one I got for free on the deal, so I added something into my basket that I thought I would like. Next up, this is one I actually bought a while ago. It came, if you saw the last journal video, I shared a Tim Holtz Halloween haul, and I bought this ink from the same place, which is Art from the Heart. This is Troublemaker in Kelp Tea. Not really one for green inks, generally speaking, but this is a super shader, and it's really pretty and has like this sort of muddy vibe to it, which I realise probably doesn't sound that intriguing or very what's the word I'm looking for? Appealing. That's the word. And next up is the Vinter sort of special edition sets. The first one is called Glam Pink, which is supposed to be like the 60s London vibe of glamorous pink. It's a shimmer ink, and pink is another colour I'm not that keen on, but I have a problem with being a completionist, so I had to have the full set. Really, honestly, that's the main reason I got it. I know that sounds awful, but there we go. So that's Glam Pink. Next up after Glam Pink is, oh, what's this one? We're just gonna have to wait a second to see what I write out. Oh, London Fog, this one. I thought this one was going to be my, oh, not London Fog, London Grey. Thought this one was going to be my favourite because I love grey inks, but it's a little bluey for me. I mean, I still like it, I thought it was going to be my favourite of the set, and it wasn't. I think the next one, is going to end up being my favourite. which is also the one when I bought, I thought it was going to be the least favourite. So there we go. So this is the Vinter Greenwich, and it's a really hard colour to describe. It's like this really deep blue green colour that's almost black, but the green and the blue is really obvious, and it's got a subtle but really gorgeous shimmer to it as well. Again, it's really, really hard to describe, but it's really, really gorgeous. And then the last one is lavender, I think. Yes, lavender, which I love. A nice, subtle purple sort of lilac-y ink. So, you know, perfectly happy with this one. But yeah, the Greenwich turned out to be my favourite, which I thought was really, really surprising. So just in case if you haven't seen me work in my ink journal before, what I do is I swatch it with a glass dip pen, then with a paintbrush, so you get a really big swatch, and then I use this other dip pen which has a really, really super fine nib on it, just so I can see how it works with different thicknesses, and I know going through like, oh, this pen's probably not going to work in a fine nib fountain pen. It's just really, really helpful. And then when I have an actual fountain pen inked up in that colour, I also add it to the journal, just so I see how each ink works in different pens. And yeah, that's it for the ink journal this week. Next up, I'm going to work in my sort of creative scrapbooky journal. I haven't done that for a while, and I haven't done it on any of these journal videos before. I did decide to glue some pages together because it is Tomoe River paper, and it was struggling to, you know, just struggling with all the weight of all the extra bits of paper and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to start gluing 2 pages together. I printed off some photos there on my HP Sprocket. I'm documenting here my lovely friend Maddie. She lives about 2.5 hours from me, but her and her family were in the area, or in the same county that I live, so she and her lovely family popped down and we got to spend like an afternoon together, and it was really, really lovely. So we have some photos of us by the sea, because that's where I live, by the sea. So I'm going to use lots of nautical themed stuff for this spread. I'm using mostly scraps. I have a box with most of my nautical themed scrapbooking products in lots of different collections. The one you see most is probably the Prima Saint-Tropez collection, which is a lovely vintagey vibe nautical oh, I love it so much. But for this particular spread, I'm really very much using scraps and bits, and you can see they're all over my desk. I did want to do some really basic background mixed media work though, so I splattered on some Distress Oxide spray in Ice Spruce, then did bigger splatters with a paintbrush in Old Paper, and then as you saw, I used a thing of kitchen roll to just roll those over to sort of spread them a bit and take away, lift off some of the heavier ink. And then I added really big splatters of Vintage Photo, and then used the kitchen roll to dab those as well, so you kind of get they spread out a little better. And adding the water to that as well, you get the oxidization effect, which is what I really particularly wanted on this pages. That's not right, these pages, because, you know, it helped with the whole vintage nautical theme. I don't really know how else to explain it other than that. It worked in my brain. That's how I'll explain it. So I'm layering up some scraps on that side. I'm going around the edges of everything with Distress Oxide in frayed burlap. I'm just cutting around the corner edges there. I had this leftover journal card, which I remember using. It had like a phrase or something in the middle of it in a circle shape, and I'd cut it out and kept that sort of circle frame of the journal card, and I'm glad I did, because it works really, really nicely on this layout. On the opposite side, I'm doing more scraps of various papers and distressing them or ripping the edges, adding the frayed burlap and layering them up like this. It's a really great way of using up scraps, and some of those scraps, looking at them, I've had them for a long time, and these days I probably wouldn't keep them. I'm a little better at throwing away things these days, but I'm glad I did. And as I said, it's a really good way of using up the scraps. Kind of looks like it's more on purpose than just using up bits that you don't throw away. I pulled out a journaling card for the second photo, but I was a little bit unsure about that, so I thought I would do the first photo with the frame first and then kind of see how we went from there. And then I decided I didn't like that journal card. It wasn't right, it was sticking out, it was standing out way too much, so I just pulled that scrap, the like map page scrap that was just, you know, on my desk somewhere, ripping it down a bit to make it smaller. Gonna go around the edges with the frayed burlap, of course. And then I spent some time, I was just going to have one photo on one side and the other photo on the other side, but I wasn't feeling it, something wasn't quite right. And then I put it on the other side and went, yep, that's what I need to do. So I had to tear a little bit more off that backing, because otherwise it would have been really sticking out at the top of my notebook, and plopped that down. But I still needed a space to add some journaling. Oh no, first I had this little quote that was, if you're familiar with Kaiser Craft papers, the branding strip often has a quote on it, something you can use as a title, so that's where that is from. I don't remember what collection though. And then yeah, I wanted to have a space for journaling, so I pulled out this journal card with like the grid lines. I'm going to really rough up the edges, and then I'm going to screw it up, like scrunch it up in my hands and then open it up again so it's all messy and stuff. I'm going to cover up that reddish pink arrow that's on the page because it really does not match the page at all. Again, I'm going to use some scraps to cover that up there. So I'll add my journaling in that space and those pages will be done. I did want to say, while I remember, I am like aware that I haven't been around as much lately. Like videos went from 2 a week down to 1 a week, and at the moment they've been like once every 10 days or so. It's just, there's so much going on right now in life. It's just, it'll sort itself out eventually, but I don't have as much time for making videos or being creative in general as I would like. And the big thing that's going on, I will tell you about eventually when it's all sorted, but yeah, it's just just a little bit busy at the moment, and just, you know, hope that it sorts itself out soon. That would be very nice. So I have more time for creating, and more time for creating content and creating new products and things like that. But anyways, enough about that. I'm gonna next go. That's not correct English. I'm gonna go into my junk journal here. Chose some pages that had a little bit of a spooky vibe to them because I wanted to do something Halloweeny spooky. I started off adding this washi tape, but I'm gonna take that off. I think I take it off and then put it back down again, because it wasn't working for what I wanted to do. But sometimes just putting down a bit of washi tape or something is a great way to just, you know, get over that blank page fear, because it's usually quite easy to peel off again if you decide you don't want it. So just shoving that down on the paper really got me started, and then you can see there I'm pulling it off again. I'm going to use some of my lovely Tim Holtz Halloween bits and pieces, the Halloween worn wallpaper. I chose a piece there that I thought would match nicely with the spread. And then in my box of Halloween stuff, I'm going to pull out some little scraps and bits, and like some really old collections, like the pink paisley spellcast collection. Oh, I loved that collection so much, and they haven't done anything like it since, and that makes me sad. So tearing pieces of the worn wallpaper, the piece I chose, I'm going to add one to one side and then one to the top left side, going around the edges of everything on this spread with Distress Oxide in old paper. And I'm only going to stick down those worn wallpaper pieces at the very edge of the page, so I have lots of opportunity to stick stuff underneath them and really layer things up. That piece I was just putting down there was a scrap from my Halloween box. Why I kept a scrap that small, I do not know, but you know, I'm using it, so it's fine. And here I'm bringing back that washi tape that I'd originally stuck down and then peeled off again. Oh, that's really spooky. Like, I'm working on a spooky Halloween page and it just suddenly went really dark in this room. Just that normal, you know, just when the sun goes behind the clouds, then everything suddenly goes slightly darker, but kind of creepy that happened as I'm working on this spread. Anyway, went through my Tim Holtz Halloween ephemera, chose some bits to use there, and again, distress around the edges with my distressing tool, one of my could not live without tools, I think, and going around the edges with the old paper. I pulled out some of these kind of washi strip stickers from that sticker book to add something to that top part of the white page, because if I'd left it blank it would have looked weird. I think it needed to be all enclosed into the pages. I'm going to rough up the edge of that wallpaper piece a little bit so it's kind of peeling away like old wallpaper does. Then I was deciding I wanted something to go underneath that other spot of wallpaper, and I just decided on that really little floral piece, but I think it looks really nice. I know I say it all the time, but Tim Holtz ideology, Halloween is my favourite thing. The whole aesthetic of it, everything, love it so much. makes me so happy. And I'm not going to stop using it just because it's going to be November soon. Nope, absolutely not. Halloween is not just for Halloween. I was trying to make like a not just for Christmas kind of pun, but I failed on that. But you know what I mean. Decided to make things a little extra creepy with a boy sitting on that cauldron and gave him some bat wings as well. I stuck those down with glossy accents because the acetate's a bit funny to stick down sometimes, and it's going to work as well because if you saw my previous page where I did something similar, I started writing out the turn of the screw, and the turn of the screw famously has kind of a creepy little boy in it, so I thought he would work quite nicely because that's what I'm going to fill the middle space with, is more from that story. Added a like Halloween clipping sticker that's something like I heard a strange noise. I filled in that awkward gap at the top. I thought it would look weird if I tried to find more ephemera or washi to put up there, so I just used the old paper and blended some of the colour on there. And here I am, I'm going to continue writing from, as I said, the turn of the screw, which I feel like by today's standards it's not that creepy, but it's one of those things that very much paved the way for like the creepy horror genre, which actually, generally speaking, I'm not really into because I'm a total wimp. Can't watch a horror movie, but I still like creepy aesthetic, so there we go, that's what's happening. So I think once I've done all of my writing, oh, I did kind of pull back that warm wallpaper a little bit more, so some of the writing goes underneath it, and then I pushed it back again once I'd done. I kind of just like the way the writing goes underneath the wallpaper, like almost as if it's written on the wall and you've torn away the wallpaper and you're like, oh, there's writing underneath here, creepy. That's kind of what I was going for. And then I'm going to finish off with some splatters of Distress Oxide, again in the old paper, just to keep the same colour theme going on. Where it oxidizes, it works really, really nicely. I did have that thing where I wanted some splatters in a particular place, so I kind of do fake splatters in that I just dab the little nozzle in the places that I want the splatters and make them look as natural as possible. But yeah, that's going to be the last thing I do in this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all relevant links will be in the description box. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me down in the comments, and yep, that's going to be it from me. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.